Fate has a strange way of intervening when we least expect it. That night, as Marcus fought the pain of hunger and shame, a stranger approached him, a middle-aged man bundled in a thick wool coat, carrying 2 cups of coffee. He sat beside Marcus, handed him one, and said, "Looks like you've got a storm inside you." Joe didn't just give Marcus a meal or a kind word. He saw something in his eyes, an ember, barely glowing, but alive. With Joe's encouragement, Marcus found himself sleeping in a shelter that night, a small step that felt monumental. The dream was simple, or perhaps utterly naive. Marcus wanted to rebuild his life to the point where he could stand before his daughter, Elena, hold her hand, and make her proud. But where do you start when you've lost everything? Overwhelmed by fear, Marcus almost gave up before he began. Yet, as if by destiny, Joe invited him to a community workshop for people in transition, where attendees were asked a profound question. What's one thing you've always loved? For Marcus, the answer was instant: music. Though it had been years since his hands had touched a guitar, the memory of playing still stirred something deep and true within him. With relentless dedication, Marcus began to claw his way out of the abyss. Every morning, he volunteered at the shelter to earn trust and build discipline. Afternoons were spent busking on street corners with a borrowed guitar, fumbling through rusty chords and dodging dismissive stares. But something miraculous began to happen. People started to stop and listen. A child tugged at her mother's hand to watch him play. A businessman in a tailored suit dropped $20 into his open case. These moments of connection reignited Marcus's faith, not just in himself, but in humanity as a whole. However, rebuilding a life from ashes is never without heartbreak. One day, Marcus hit a crushing low when he learned his daughter was being moved out of state by his ex-wife, limiting his chances to reconnect. Defeated, he played a mournful tune on a corner bench, one so raw and emotional that a crowd gathered. Among them was a recording studio manager who handed Marcus his card and said, "You have a gift, man. When you're ready, call me." That single moment was a lifeline in a sea of despair. Months later, Marcus stood in a small studio, trembling as he recorded his first original song. Titled Second Chances, it was a hauntingly beautiful piece that captured his journey from rock bottom to hope. Against all odds, the song went viral after being uploaded to social media by Joe, the same man who had offered him coffee that cold December night. The world fell in love with Marcus's raw talent and resilience, and opportunities poured in. Gigs, collaborations, even a record deal. The ultimate victory came nearly a year after that first fateful encounter with Joe. Marcus stood before a modest crowd at his first live concert, scanning the faces until his eyes locked on Elena's in the front row. Tears filled her eyes as he sang, each word a testament to the unbreakable bond between a father and daughter. When the final note faded, she ran into his arms, whispering, "I'm proud of you, Dad." In that moment, every hardship, every step forward, every stumble backward felt like it had led to this one perfect embrace. Marcus's story reminds us that it's never too late to rewrite your destiny. No matter how lost you feel, there is always an ember waiting to ignite. The smallest acts of kindness, like a cup of coffee or a nudge toward an old passion, can spark monumental change. And when you push through the pain, past the fear, and toward the horizon of your dream, you might just discover that the world isn't as indifferent as it once seemed. So, what's your one impossible dream? Take the first step today, because your transformation could inspire the next great story.